What's up, everybody? True Boxing here. Thank you for coming back to get hit with the truth. So today, doing a what's next on Josh Warrington, the newly crowned IBF Featherweight Champion of the world, as he regained his title, followed with a dominating 7th round TKO victory over Kiko Martinez. This was a rematch from their 2017 bout when Warrington won a very close majority decision in that fight. Martinez pulled off the upset of Kid Galahad last year and wanted a rematch with Warrington because, it was a good money fight. So the fight happened and he went down. He put Martinez down early and just kept applying the pressure, but also stood back and boxed a little bit. As Martinez did have his moments. He got back into the fight, but Warrington just overwhelmed him, was just too much, was beating him to the punch, and it was an impressive stoppage win as he regains the title. So now the big question is, what's next for Josh Warrington? And to be honest, I'm not sure if he has a mandatory due, because there wasn't, the last updated featherweight rankings, IBF featherweight rankings, I'm not sure if Mauricio Lara is going to get the crack in a third fight with Warrington for the IBF title. Lara knocked Warrington out last year impressively and upset him, but Warrington had given up his belt. And then, who is it? Luis Lopez Vargas defeated Gabriel Flores at 130 and is a true 126-pounder, and I'm hearing that he could be the mandatory challenger. So it's really up to what the IBF decides to do. I think it's supposed to be Lopez Vargas fighting Josh Warrington, but the IBF hasn't been very clear about this subject. So I really think if it's going to be a mandatory title fight, which there hasn't been a mandatory IBF title fight since the new champion was crowned last year in Kid Galahad. That was a mandatory title fight, and Galahad stopped Jazza Dickens to capture the vacant belt. He was allotted an optional defense against Kiko Martinez and lost the belt and got upset. And now Martinez has lost the title to Warrington. So is a mandatory shot going to be due for Warrington next, or is Warrington going to be allowed to fight somebody else? Let's run through the top 10 and see what could be possible for Josh Warrington. We start with number 1, Emmanuel Navarrete, the WBO champion. This fight is possible if Warrington does not have to defend his title, doesn't have to make a mandatory defense, and the WBO doesn't force Navarrete to make a mandatory defense, and if Navarrete is indeed a promotional free agent, which most people feel he is, after he supposedly had his last fight with Top Rank in October. That hasn't been confirmed. We don't know yet. I would love to see this fight. Timetable might not match up because Warrington just fought. Navarrete hasn't fought since October. I'm sure he wants to get back live. Does Navarrete, but we'll see. Wouldn't completely rule it out, but I'm going to lean towards the no. Coming in was Gary Russell Jr. He's a PBC guy. I don't see this fight, especially after he's coming off the loss to Magsayo. He's probably going to fight within the PBC next. If he even fights at all again this year, we'll see, but I'm going to say no. Mark Magsayo, the WBC champion. Not going to happen next, at least. Magsayo has a mandatory title defense coming up in July against Ray Vargas, so I highly doubt, plus he's a PBC guy, highly doubt we see Magsayo and Warrington, even though I think that'd be a fun fight. Just is not going to happen next for Warrington, in my opinion. Mauricio Lara. I think this fight's very possible, the third fight here. I think Lara deserves it. He could be the highest ranked IBF contender right now. The IBF might say, hey, look, this guy knocked you out. You guys didn't settle anything in the second fight. That was a no contest due to a cut. You guys need to have a rubber match here. Mandatory title fight for the IBF title. That would be great. I'm hoping that's what happens, but we'll see. Kiko Martinez. Martinez is done following that loss. He's not going to be... there's no call for a third fight. That one wouldn't happen. Then you got Kid Galahad. Galahad's moving to 130. It would be a rematch with Warrington. He didn't want anything to do with him before. I doubt he'd want anything to do with him in a rematch now, especially since Galahad has pretty much made the decision he's going to 130. Ray Rey Vargas. Vargas is fighting Magsayo for the WBC title next, so that's not going to be a possibility. Lee Wood. Now, this is the fight that Warrington wants. Wood is the WBA regular champion. Here's why I think this fight, it could be possible. If Leo Santa Cruz gives up the WBA super title, Lee Wood gets upgraded to the championship. He's the regular champ right now. He becomes the sole WBA champion, and then he would be allowed to fight Josh Warrington. But I'm pretty sure Lee Wood and Leo Santa Cruz are going to fight in a mandatory fight. I mean, why would Santa Cruz accept the WBA after 3 years of inactivity and not defending that belt? Why would he accept the invitation that they offered him to fight to be the WBA champion? He just has to make a mandatory defense. Why would they do that? And why would Santa Cruz accept that just to give up his belt now? It's not like he can get the winner of Vargas and Magsayo in the ring next. They're fighting each other. So Santa Cruz, if he's smart, is going to fight Lee Wood next in a mandatory fight, and then he could potentially set up a showdown with Warrington later. But again, I don't see it happening next. I don't see a fight with Lee Wood. Tied for 10th, you got Ken Shu of China, the former champion. I doubt Warrington fights Shu. Shu's coming off a loss to Lee Wood last year. It just wouldn't make any sense, even though Warrington almost fought Ken Shu last year. Joet Gonzalez, he's coming off of a win. He came back following the loss to Navarrete and got a win. But I think for Warrington right now, it would be a risky fight and wouldn't make a lot of sense. Eduardo Ramirez, I don't think that's possible. He's a PBC guy. And Michael Conlon has dropped out of the top 10 following the loss to Lee Wood. So Warrington, I really believe it's going to be Luis Lopez Vargas next, or Mauricio Lara in a third fight, which would be a mandatory fight. One of those two is what I believe is going to happen next. But it could be anything. You know, you never know. Santa Cruz might say he wants to wait around for the winner of Magsayo and Vargas and stay busy and give up the WBA belt, allowing Wood to become champ, and then we could see Lee Wood against Warrington. We just got to wait and see. But that's what I got. That's the what's next on Josh Warrington. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, smash the like button, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel. I appreciate any support. And this is True Boxing. You've been hit with the truth.